Push button start not working on this Jeep Grand Cherokee. It's showing damaged key or key not detected on the dash when tried, and in this video I'm going to show you how I found and fixed this fault. After an in-depth discussion with the customer about the fault, I was able to find out that he had been dealing with it for quite a long time and he had found a workaround online. That workaround was removing the push button start, which you can see here. You can use the key directly into the ignition and you can turn and start the vehicle that way. And with that, he used that for quite a long time, but now he was at the stage where he wanted to find and fix the issue to revert it back to the way it was. So his main issues was it a new key he needed? Was it a push button that was becoming faulty or had completely failed? Or was it another major issue that needed looking at? So that was the collective information I got at drop off, and then I set about doing my own checks. I confirmed the customer fault as you see there, and then it was time to scan the vehicle, check it for all fault codes and assess it. What you're seeing here is the hotel hooked up after doing a full system scan, and in amber is the ones that it has flagged as a fault. I go through the report and I start to see what it has shown. Thermostat rationality, not concerned about that one. P0513, key immobilizer detected. Then a repeat of lost communication faults. Again, we have more lost comms, and down here we have passive entry module, general electrical failure, and that's antenna 4. So passive entry antenna 4. That's one I want to dial in on and just check to see if the passive entry system is actually functioning in the car. So I jump out of the vehicle and I try to do a lock and unlock to see if the passive entry system is up and running, which it is not. So I confirmed that is an active fault that the customer didn't actually speak about. And after that, I decided I'd look up to see where that passive entry antenna is actually located. Get on the computer and use the information that we have at the workshop and try and locate it. If you haven't got some of the software or information that workshops have, you can just do an internet search and see if you can find it. In a case of this, it is actually available online, and this is a diagram that I was able to find after the fact, and it shows where that passive entry antenna 4 is located. So if we go off this diagram, we're able to see where it's located, and then I want to get to that location and just see if I can notice an issue there. So what you're seeing here is me after pulling the weather seal out of the way from the panel trim in the boot. I'm shining my torch down in between to see if I can see any issues. And what I actually spotted was this blue connector discarded. Now I didn't actually know what it was, but I'm pretty sure at this stage that it should be connected to something, and it's just pushed down into the boot. So that gave me enough reason to pull off the panel trim straight away and have a deeper look before I speak to the customer. With that out of the way, I was able to get clear visibility onto that connector itself, and I could see it was damaged. It had been roughed. At some stage somebody either hit something against it, pulled, pried at it, and it damaged it. So that blue piece was damaged, and it wasn't connected to anything, and I couldn't find the actual antenna itself. So in the next clip, I'm just doing a recap after my discussion with the customer on the actual day I did the repairs. So just a quick recap on this Jeep Grand Cherokee 2012. Key not detected when using the push button start. So down here, push button has now been removed, but it does start when you remove the button and put the key in. A couple of things of note: full system scan showed many communication error faults, including the passive entry system, and there was also key fob faults too. When I looked through that, check of the wiring diagram showed that there was a passive entry system antenna out of the rear boot. Contacted the customer advised after conversation that there was work done on the back of the vehicle to do with electronic parking brake for his Caravan, and since then the system has not worked, so the push button did not work since then. Removed some panels and was able to see that the passive entry antenna is missing. So the clip looked like it was damaged, and the actual part itself has been discarded. So we'll require that part to be replaced, recheck the system after that, but that is the customer complaint confirmed. And after talking with the customer, I do the usual, which is get onto the dealership and start to discuss part availability, what we're after, and get some part numbers. Now, what I have up on the screen here is the actual part I'm looking for. So this is a website that I found. This is a genuine part. As you can see on the right hand side, this is US price, I believe, but it is very cheap in relation to certain dealership parts that you would buy. So number 6 in the illustration, which is I'm showing there, is that antenna 4, and that is the part that we're looking for. Now, the customer was made aware of the damage to that blue clip. It was all about just confirming the fault, putting this back together after getting this part and seeing how it went. So there is an option to depin that connector, reinstall a new one if you located one, if you wanted to go to that trouble. In this case, it was that passive entry part number 5026444AA is what was ordered, and then I was going to do a temporary / permanent install on the connector, just using a couple of cable ties. And later on down the road, if we wanted to adopt that or change that, that can be done. This part is also listed in multiple other vehicles as well. So if you have this in a Jeep, Dodge, Chrysler, you could have the same fault, especially with those panels being able to be removed so easily. So what you can see here is the temporary fix that I came up with. One cable ties to secure it, and the other wrapped through the actual blue connector, and it held it nice and tight. Primarily I do this just to confirm that the network is back up and running, and that we're able to clear the faults, and that we have the passive entry, etc., all back up and running. But I do secure it in place, and like I said, the customer gave the green light for this to be all secured down and put back together once that part was installed. That's all the trim panel pieces put back in as well. So now we have the job pretty much complete from this standpoint. It's time to go to the scan tool, clear the fault codes, and start to check to see if this has been rectified. Okay, we'll report, see what those codes are left. The antenna one, which was a current one at all times, remote keyless entry, fob battery low. So, and headlight leveling, absolutely fine, no issues with that. Let's start the vehicle. Push button start is back installed. Press the pedal. And there we go. I'm also going to check the keyless entry now as well. So I'll just check that quickly. Key battery low, which is this one here. Okay, so keyless entry system is back working. We have the push button start back working. I'll bring this for a drive. There's a little bit of charge drained out of it there as well while I was doing that. And just make sure that no other fault codes come back, and this job should be all completed. Okay, just coming off the final road test on this vehicle now, and everything is back function again. That push button start is now working. When initially checking that was removed by the customer and the vehicle would not start. We were getting that key not detected fault appearing on the dash. After that initial examination and module, we could see that the communication to the passive entry system is disabled, not functioning, damaged connector, and a fault found. New passive entry antenna installed, connector secured as best as possible,
and it is good. The cable ties have secured it in. There was some chipping on the top of that electrical connector, and the plastic piece at the very tip had been damaged where pried or something may have pushed against it, but it doesn't affect it. There is enough material in between the two connectors to not cause any issues there as well, so I'm overall not concerned about that. The faults have been cleared, obviously have not returned, and the passive entry system, so that keyless entry where you go up and just open the handle and the car opens, is now back working. So everything is done. This is a fix, and I can give this one back to the customer now, knowing that there'll be no more issues with that. Really hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you found it useful and informative. If you did, please like, share, comment and subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.